Good afternoon. I'm Ronan Stanchfield, or Ronan James, or RJ, or Scratch, Ron, Ronnie. Did I name them all? I guess so. I've had all of those names. I think the ones that have been spoken the most were younger. When I was younger, it was Ronnie. When computers came in, it was Ronan. Ron has been the nickname for pretty much every one of them. Uh, and that's it. Oh, and there's also Scratch, and Scratch came along probably about 12, 14 years ago when I started to play poker online. I had to choose a name, and I chose Scratch after the movie The Devil and Daniel Webster, which is a Christmas story about how Daniel Webster outsmarted the devil. No way. In any case, the goal of this particular video is to try to, I want to test different things, lighting, which I have done. I think I have the audio good because right now, as you can see, I have these, which I listen to, but I'm not listening, so I leave them where they are. And the microphone is right here. And so it's a good microphone for now until I get a professional one, but it'll work for now. But what I wanted to use as a topic for today is what my faith is. And I'd like to articulate that and my political orientation so that it becomes clear from the beginning. Okay, I consider myself a street Buddhist. Okay, I'm going to explain that in a little while. And my politics is green. I'm a member of the Green Party. I was one of the founders of the Green Party of the United States, and I've been a long time activist for environmental issues, including mostly nuclear, anti-nuclear work, and anti-war work before that, during Vietnam. Okay, so that's my politics, and my Buddhism came about in this way. And this is truth to power. Years ago, I'm going to say between the time I was 5 and the time I was 10, and I'm sure it's within that range, but I don't know when. But I was already thinking outside the young box of thinking. I was thinking about the weird things about God and stuff like that. But there was one thing that I realized, and I couldn't get away from it. I tried real hard to get away from it. But what I realized was that these eyes were the only eyes that I could have. So everything I saw in any state of consciousness, I saw them with these eyes. And they went to the optic part of my brain where what I saw was interpreted into form and color. This nose gave me the ability to smell. These ears allowed me to hear, and I couldn't have anyone else's ears. I had to hear with these ears. These hands were able to touch and to feel. So I had the smelling, the hearing, the hearing, the touching, and the tasting. So that was the tongue and the eating process. But there was a double use for these. And the double use was I spoke with it. So it was for incoming things, the breath and food, and outgoing things, ideas, thoughts, and getting yourself in trouble, of course. And it's probably the beginning of me putting together a kind of a, real heavy duty, absolute truth situation. All of those were true. But what I also realized was that the only time I never really stopped any of these from moving on. Even if I was asleep at night, I would dream and I would see with my eyes, or I would maybe speak or make sounds with my mouth. I would hear things. And most of it, whether I was asleep or awake, was just, there was nothing that's collected. It were just things I could listen to and I could see, I could watch. And there was nothing else. All other things were visions or smells or shapes or people in both the dream state and the waking state. And I realized that even though I had a mother and father and a brother, even though I could touch them and hold them and love them, I didn't know that they knew what I knew. I mean, they couldn't have known what I knew, and I can't know what they know. And I don't give them credit for seeing anything because I can't be sure of it. And even if they try to tell me what it is, they can't explain it properly for me to understand because it's my experience. You see, I learned in that age from 5 to 10 that it is about my experience. What do I see? Over the years now we're getting to where I went through, 3 or 4 religions where I actually studied it. At first, I was a Baptist Christian. Then I became at 14, I think, a Catholic, and that lasted for 3 or 4 years. Then I studied Judaism for a while, was very interested in it. Um, that was probably for about 3 or 4 years. There was nothing formal in any of these except a priest baptized me and had to give me lessons, which amounted to maybe 5 hours total. But the rest was me having an act of faith or an act of uh, atonement. And same with Judaism and same with baptism. And what occurred to me after a while was that I was really nothing. I was even for a while an atheist in that I could believe in me because I knew me to be a seer, a hearer, and a toucher, and blah, blah, blah. But I didn't believe there was a God because how could there be if there's only me? And then I started to dare to think. Now I'm with the same line of thought. By the time I was about 40, I started to say, do I dare to say to myself that this is my world? I am God. I created this. This is all for me, including you and you and you, and that bird over there, those clouds up there. And that's haunted me ever since. But I think when I was about 40, which would put this at, yeah, about that, 1980s, 85, something like that, I started to read about the Dead Sea Scrolls. And I got introduced to, in ooh, early on, 70, well, I'll call it 80, the Gnostic Gospels. And I was fascinated with them because what it showed me was that historically there were many cults, many different cults. In fact, they called the time of Jesus the is it the Messianic period, where everyone was creating gods and they were all over the place. And so I then was wondering, well, what do I really want? Now I was in the next level. I wanted to get away from all of the conventional stuff, like any Buddhist sects or any Catholic sects or any Jewish sects, all of them. I wanted away from them. I didn't want their theology at all. I had read a lot of the Torah, the Bible, the Quran, uh, even the scrolls and the Gospels. And that didn't interest me. Then there was a man by the name of Gurdjieff entered into my life, and the Seth materials, just a whole bunch of stuff. And you're jammed because, in fact, wait a minute, we're now talking the 70s. God, I'm putting it off till the 80s. So we're looking like when I was in my 30s. I thought I got that notion later on. No, by the time I was 40, I was pretty well set into being nothing, no thing, or a Buddhist thing, because Buddhism seemed the most obvious to me, because it fit with my idea of just me and the world. I mean, I was the world. I am the world. And that's a hard thing to say out loud because people look at you and say, oh, really? And, I could only think it because I couldn't say it to anyone because it's really, it's rude. I mean, it's like, my goodness, there's got to be a God there. And I'm saying to those people, no, 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 there's a God here. They're saying, is there? It's, well, that's convenient for you. If God's over there, that means you can stick him up. Give me your money. You can steal your life. You can be as bad as you want to be because you can always look for forgiveness. I mean, the Catholic Church is great for confession. Phew, it's a weird thing, confession. Go out and kill someone, but confess it and you're going right to heaven. Don't worry about it. Pay your tithing and go to heaven. So ultimately, I became a street Buddhist. In other words, I got it from being in the streets and the hard part of that being just living with experiences. And then I began to see things. And, when you suspend thinking, you try to get rid of that big ego we all have. And we all know it's big. Even though we try to look humble, it's big there too. And yeah, I guess there are some more humble people than others, but it doesn't matter because it's not about that. It's about suspending your ego while you see clearly without any judgments, and you realize there's nothing there. There's no thing. So in a sense, when I was an atheist, I was right. There's no thing. It's not even me. But I also learned there's no anything. What does that include? I'll give you a hint. This is the big one. This is the big one. What does that mean? Well, quite frankly, it means no death. Okay, all right. I know you're saying I'm crazy. Just explain to me, where is there death? Now, I'm just playing around with you in the sense that I know there's death. I know we're going to stop becoming R.J. Stanchfield. And I'm going to have it pretty soon. But you see, soon is nothing. Because we talked about the here. We're always here. Wherever we go, we're always here. And there's always now. There's only now and nothing more. So if there's only nothing and there's only here, and we die, what does that mean? It means we die into this universe. Now, what does that mean? Well, it means that we're nothing, which is kind of cool. I mean, the good news about that, there's no eating, there's no sleeping, there's nothing. We're just here. And we're here now. And we're experiencing everything. And if you experience everything, here's a hint. Well, let me even say it. If you go into your deepest state of meditation, you become awakened. Now, when you become awakened, close the barn door, Nelly, because it's glitter all over. And you see not just these 2, 3, 4 dimensions. You see dimension after dimension after dimension after dimension after dimension. They're just lining up for you. And they're coming your way. And you can ride them anywhere you want. And you'll see everybody you know. Do you understand? So that's the end of this one. I wanted to share that with you so that you understood my spiritual way, which I just explained, and you understand my political way, which is pretty much the same thing, or they're of the same consciousness. And that's it. So that's it for now. I'm going to go, and I'm going to probably put this out as a blog. All right, thanks for listening. We'll see you again. Bye-bye.